Michael was reading the news on his tablet when Claire walked into the living room and said the words that would change everything. She didn't sit down. She just stood there near the doorway, arms crossed, looking at him with an expression he'd never seen before. Distant, detached, like she was already somewhere else. "I need space," she said. Michael looked up from his tablet. "What kind of space?" "I don't know. Just space. Time to think. Time to figure out what I want." He set the tablet down slowly. "What does that mean, Claire? Are we separating?" "I don't know. Maybe. I just know I can't breathe right now. I feel trapped." Michael felt something cold settle in his stomach. They'd been married for 6 years. Together for 8. They had a house, 2 cars, a dog named Charlie. They had routines and inside jokes and a life built together piece by piece. "Trapped," he repeated. "You feel trapped being married to me." "Don't make this about you," she said, her voice sharp. "This is about me. About what I need. I've been unhappy for a while, and I need time to sort through it." "How long is a while?" She looked away. "I don't know. A few months maybe." A few months. She'd been unhappy for months, and this was the first he was hearing about it. "Did you think about talking to me?" Michael asked, keeping his voice even. "About going to counseling? About trying to work on whatever's making you unhappy?" "I don't want to work on it right now. I just want space." Michael stood up. "Okay. How much space do you need?" "I'm thinking I should stay with my sister for a while. A few weeks maybe, just to clear my head." "A few weeks?" "Yeah. Is that okay?" Michael almost laughed. She was asking permission to leave their marriage for a few weeks like she was asking to borrow his car. "Do whatever you need to do," he said. Something flickered across Claire's face. Surprise maybe. Like she'd expected him to fight harder. "Okay," she said. "I'll pack some things tonight." She went upstairs, and Michael sat back down on the couch. Charlie came over and rested his head on Michael's knee. He scratched behind the dog's ears and listened to the sounds of drawers opening and closing upstairs. 20 minutes later, Claire came down with a suitcase. She'd packed more than a few weeks' worth of clothes. "I'll call you," she said. "Sure." She hesitated at the door like she wanted to say something else, but then she just left. The door closed, and Michael sat in the quiet house with Charlie and felt the first crack of something breaking inside him. He didn't sleep that night. He lay in their bed, on his side, staring at the empty space where Claire should have been. Around 3 in the morning, he got up and went to her closet. She'd taken about a third of her clothes. Not enough to suggest she was leaving permanently, but more than you'd take for a few weeks at your sister's house. Michael went downstairs and made coffee even though it was the middle of the night. He sat at the kitchen table and tried to make sense of what had just happened. 6 years of marriage, and she needed space. Months of unhappiness, and she never said a word. Something wasn't adding up. At 7 in the morning, Michael called his buddy Garrett. They'd been friends since college, and Garrett had been through a divorce 3 years ago. If anyone would understand, it was him. "She left," Michael said when Garrett answered. "Said she needs space to figure things out." "Damn. I'm sorry, man. How are you holding up?" "I don't know. It doesn't feel real yet." "Let me ask you something," Garrett said, his voice careful. "Do you think there's someone else?" "I don't know. Maybe. She's been distant for a while. If you want to know for sure, I can give you a name. Guy I used to work with. Private investigator. He's expensive, but he's good. I don't want to be that guy. The paranoid husband who hires someone to follow his wife. You're not paranoid if you're right. And in my experience, when someone suddenly needs space, it's because they're already sharing their space with someone else." Michael thought about that after they hung up. About the way Claire had looked when she said she needed time to think. About how she'd packed more than she claimed she'd need. About the months of distance he'd felt but couldn't explain. By noon, he made up his mind. He called the number Garrett had given him. The investigator's name was Vincent Chun. His office was in a strip mall 20 minutes from Michael's house, tucked between a nail salon and a tax preparer. Michael walked in at 2 o'clock and found a middle-aged man with graying hair sitting behind a desk covered in file folders. "You must be Michael," Vincent said, standing to shake his hand. "Garrett told me you might call." They sat down and Michael explained everything. The sudden request for space. The move to her sister's house. The months of distance. Vincent listened without interrupting, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. "What do you want to know?" Vincent asked when Michael finished. "I want to know if she's seeing someone. And if she is, I want proof." "Proof for what?" "Divorce." "I don't know yet. I just need to know the truth." Vincent nodded. "I can do that. I'll need some information. Where she works, what she drives, a recent photo. And I'll need a retainer. Michael provided everything Vincent asked for. When they were done, Vincent walked him to the door. Give me a week, Vincent said. And try not to contact her too much. The less she thinks you're paying attention, the more comfortable she'll get. Michael drove home and spent the rest of the day trying to act normal. He went for a run with Charlie. He answered work emails. He made dinner and ate alone at the kitchen table, staring at Claire's empty chair. That night she called. How are you? She asked, her voice soft. I'm fine. How's your sister's place? It's good. Quiet. Exactly what I needed. Michael heard something in the background. Music maybe. Or a TV. He couldn't tell. I'm glad you're getting the space you need, he said. Thank you for understanding. I know this is hard. Yeah. There was a long pause. Then Claire said, I should go. I'll call you in a few days. Sure. She hung up and Michael sat holding the phone, wondering where she really was. Wondering if her sister even knew she was supposedly staying there. He found out the next day. Claire's sister Emma called him around lunchtime. Hey Michael, I was just calling to check on you. Claire told me she needed some space. How are you doing? Michael felt his stomach drop. She told you she needed space? Yeah. She called me yesterday. Said you two were having some issues, and she was staying somewhere to clear her head. I offered to have her stay here, but she said she'd already made other arrangements. Other arrangements? Did she say where? Michael asked, keeping his voice casual. No, she didn't. I assume maybe a hotel or something. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. Thanks for checking in, Emma. He hung up and immediately called Vincent. She's not at her sister's house, Michael said. She lied about where she's staying. Interesting, Vincent said. That makes my job easier. I'll start surveillance today. I'll call you when I have something. Vincent called back 3 days later. I need you to come to my office, he said. I have what you asked for. Michael drove there in a daze, his mind cycling through possibilities. By the time he walked into Vincent's office, he prepared himself for the worst. Vincent gestured to a chair and opened a folder on his desk. Your wife has been staying at the Riverside Apartments downtown. Unit 412. She's been there every night since she left her house. Whose apartment is it? It's a corporate rental, leased by Hendrix Technologies. That's where your wife works, correct? Yeah, she's a project manager there. Vincent pulled out a series of photographs and laid them on the desk. The first showed Claire walking into the apartment building with a tall man in a business suit. The second showed them getting into an elevator together. The third showed them entering a unit on the 4th floor. Who is he? Michael asked. His name is Ryan Hendrix. He's the CEO of the company. Married, 2 kids, lives in Westbrook with his family. Michael stared at the photos. His wife with her boss, going into an apartment together. Late at night. There's more, Vincent said quietly. He pulled out another set of photos. These showed Claire and Ryan having dinner at an expensive restaurant, holding hands across the table, laughing together, looking at each other the way Michael thought she used to look at him. The last photo showed them kissing in the parking lot. Michael closed his eyes. He'd known it was coming. He prepared himself, but seeing it was different than imagining it. How long have they been together? He asked. Based on what I've observed and what I've been able to piece together, at least 3 months. Maybe longer. 3 months. That lined up with when Claire said she started feeling trapped. Is there anything else? Michael asked. Vincent hesitated. Your wife quit her job 2 days ago. Officially, she's taking a leave of absence for personal reasons. But according to someone I talked to at the company, she and Ryan are planning to leave together. Start fresh somewhere else. She's leaving with him. That's what it looks like. Michael sat there for a long moment, letting it all sink in. His wife hadn't needed space to think. She'd needed space to plan her exit, to coordinate with her lover, to figure out how to leave Michael without looking like the bad guy. What do you want to do with this information? Vincent asked. Michael looked at the photos spread across the desk. Evidence of months of lies, of a relationship built while she was still married to him, of plans made behind his back. I need a copy of everything, Michael said. Every photo, every report, everything you have. What are you going to do? I'm going to give her exactly what she asked for. Space. Michael left Vincent's office with a USB drive containing every piece of evidence. He drove home, went straight to his computer, and started making calls. The first call was to a divorce attorney named Patricia Morrison. She had a reputation for being thorough and aggressive. I need to file for divorce. Michael told her. And I have extensive documentation of my wife's affair. They met the next morning. Patricia reviewed everything Vincent had collected, making notes as she went through each photo, each timeline, each piece of evidence. This is very comprehensive, she said. With this documentation, we're in a strong position. She won't have much room to negotiate. I want the house, Michael said. I want my retirement accounts protected. I don't want to pay alimony. And I want this done fast. Fast usually means expensive. I don't care about the cost. I want her served before she has a chance to clean out our accounts or hide assets. Patricia nodded. I can file today. We can have her served by tomorrow afternoon. Good. One more thing, Patricia said. How do you want to handle this? Do you want to tell her you know, or let the papers be a surprise? Michael thought about all the lies. All the times Claire had kissed him goodbye before going to Ryan's apartment. All the phone calls where she pretended to be at her sister's house. Let it be a surprise. That afternoon, Patricia filed the paperwork. Michael went home and did something he'd been planning since leaving Vincent's office. He went to Claire's closet and packed everything. Every dress, every shoe, every piece of jewelry. He boxed it all up methodically, labeling each box with masking tape. Clothes, shoes, accessories, personal items. It took him 3 hours. When he was done, Claire's closet was completely empty. Just bare hangers and empty shelves. He stacked all the boxes in the garage, neat and organized. Then he changed the locks on every door. Front door, back door, garage door. New locks, new keys. The next day, Claire was served at the Riverside Apartments. Michael knew because Patricia called him at 2:30. She's been served. The process server said she was with a man when he knocked on the door. She signed for the papers and closed the door immediately. Good. You should expect her to call you. Probably multiple times. Are you prepared for that? I'm prepared. Claire called 17 minutes later. Michael was sitting on the couch with Charlie, staring at his phone as it lit up with her name. He let it ring, then ring again. On the third call, he answered. Michael, what the hell is going on? Her voice was high, panicked. I just got served with divorce papers. I'm divorcing you. You can't just... We need to talk about this. You can't make this decision without talking to me. You made a decision without talking to me when you started sleeping with your boss. I'm just following your lead. Silence on the other end. How did you find out? She finally asked, her voice small. Does it matter? Michael, please. Let me explain. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You've been living with Ryan Hendricks for the past 2 weeks while telling me you needed space. You've been planning to leave with him. You quit your job. You were just waiting for the right time to tell me. Who told you that? How do you know? I hired a private investigator. I have photos, Claire. I have timelines. I have everything. He heard her breath catch. You had me follow. You lied to me for months. You left our marriage while pretending you just needed time to think. Yeah, I had you followed. And I'm glad I did because now I know exactly who I'm dealing with. Michael, please. Can we just meet and talk about this? Face to face. There's nothing to talk about. My lawyer will be in touch with yours. And Claire. What? Your things are packed and in the garage. All of them. Your closet is empty. Don't come back to the house. The locks are changed. You can't do that. That's my house too. We'll let the lawyers sort that out. Goodbye, Claire. He hung up before she could respond. His phone rang immediately. He declined the call. It rang again. He turned it off. For the next hour, Michael sat in the quiet house, feeling strangely calm. He wasn't crying. He wasn't angry. He just felt a sense of finality. Like a door closing on something that should have ended months ago. Around 5, there was pounding on the front door. Charlie barked. Michael looked through the window and saw Claire's car in the driveway. Michael, open the door. We need to talk. He didn't respond. Just sat on the couch with Charlie and waited. The pounding continued for 10 minutes. Then he heard her try her key. It didn't work. More pounding. Michael, please. Just let me get my things. He walked to the door, but didn't open it. Your things are in the garage. The door is unlocked. Take what you want and go. I want to talk to you. There's nothing to say. He heard her breathing on the other side of the door. Heavy, frustrated. Fine, she finally said. But this isn't over. He heard her footsteps going around to the garage. Heard the garage door open. 20 minutes later, he heard her car start and drive away. When he looked out the window, half the boxes were gone. She'd be back for the rest. That night, Michael's brother called. Emma told me what happened. Are you okay? I'm fine. You don't sound fine. I'm fine, Kevin. Really. I'm just tired. You want me to come over? No. I just want to be alone right now. Okay. But call me if you need anything. Anything at all. Michael hung up and went to bed early. He slept better than he had in weeks. Over the next few days, the lawyers went back and forth. Claire's attorney tried to argue that Michael had forced her out of the house by changing the locks. Patricia shut that down with the evidence of the affair and the fact that Claire had voluntarily left. Claire's attorney tried to argue for spousal support. Patricia countered with the adultery evidence and Claire's recent employment status. Claire's attorney tried to argue for half the house. Patricia pointed out that Michael had bought it 2 years before they got married and had made every mortgage payment from his own account. Every argument Claire made fell apart when faced with the evidence. 2 weeks after filing, Patricia called with an update. She wants to settle. She's offering to walk away with minimal assets if you agree not to make the affair public. What's she afraid of? Apparently, Ryan Hendricks's wife found out. She's filing for divorce too and going after him for everything. Claire's afraid if this becomes public knowledge, it'll affect her ability to get hired anywhere else. She should have thought of that before sleeping with her married boss. Do you want to settle? Michael thought about it. What's she asking for? Her car, her personal belongings, and $10,000. That's it. She's waiving any claim to the house, your retirement accounts, everything else. And in exchange, you sign a mutual non-disclosure agreement. Neither of you talks about the affair or the reasons for the divorce. Tell her I'll agree on one condition. What's that? She has to tell the truth to her family. I'm not taking the blame for this. If they ask what happened, she has to admit she had an affair. I don't care if she tells them who it was with, but she has to tell them it was her choice. Patricia was quiet for a moment. I'll present that to her attorney. 2 days later, Patricia called back. She agreed. She'll tell her family. And she signed the NDA. We can finalize everything next week. The divorce was final 30 days later. Michael signed the papers in Patricia's office. Claire signed them separately. They never saw each other again. Michael kept the house, his retirement accounts, everything except $10,000 and the satisfaction of exposing Claire publicly. But he didn't need that satisfaction. He had something better. He had the truth. He heard through mutual friends that Claire and Ryan's relationship fell apart within 2 months. Apparently the affair was exciting when it was secret, but reality was a lot less romantic. Ryan's divorce cost him millions. Claire ended up moving to another state to find work. Michael didn't care. She was part of a past he was actively leaving behind. 3 months after the divorce, Michael was at a dog park with Charlie when a woman's golden retriever came bounding over. The 2 dogs immediately started playing. Sorry, the woman said, jogging over. Biscuit has no boundaries. Michael laughed. It's fine. Charlie loves making new friends. Her name was Andrea. She was a graphic designer who'd moved to town 6 months ago. They ended up talking for an hour while the dogs played. And when it was time to leave, she asked for his number. I don't usually do this, she said, looking slightly embarrassed. But would you want to get coffee sometime? Michael smiled. I'd like that. Their first date was simple. Coffee that turned into lunch, that turned into a walk around downtown. Andrea was easy to talk to, honest in a way that felt refreshing. On their third date, she asked about his previous relationships. I was married, Michael said. It ended about 6 months ago. Can I ask what happened? She had an affair. Told me she needed space to think. Turned out she needed space to move in with her boss. Andrea nodded slowly. That must have been hard. It was. But I'm glad I found out when I did instead of wasting more time on someone who'd already left. How did you find out? I hired a private investigator. Andrea's eyebrows went up. Really? Yeah. She lied about where she was staying. Said she was at her sister's house, but her sister didn't know anything about it. So I hired someone to follow her, and he found out she was living with another man. What did you do when you found out? I filed for divorce and packed up all her stuff. Gave her exactly what she asked for. Space. Andrea smiled slightly. That's a good line. It's a true line. I like that you didn't just accept the situation. A lot of people would have just believed her story and waited around hoping she'd come back. I almost did, Michael admitted. But something didn't feel right. And I'm glad I trusted that instinct. They dated for a year before moving in together. Michael sold a house he'd shared with Claire and bought something new with Andrea. A fresh start in a space that had no history. 2 years after his divorce, Michael proposed to Andrea on the same hiking trail where they'd had their first real conversation about his marriage ending. She said yes before he finished asking. They got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Michael's brother was his best man. During the reception, Kevin pulled him aside. "You look happy," Kevin said. "I'm happy. I'm glad. After everything with Claire, I wasn't sure you'd be able to trust anyone again." Michael looked across the room at Andrea, who was laughing with her mother. "I learned something from Claire," Michael said. "I learned the difference between someone who says they need space and someone who actually communicates. Andrea doesn't play games. She doesn't hide things. She doesn't make me guess what she's feeling. That's the difference between a good partner and a selfish one." Exactly. 3 years after his divorce, Michael ran into Claire at a bookstore. She was alone, looking through the self-help section. She saw him first, and her face went pale. "Michael," she said quietly. "Claire, how are you?" "I'm okay." "You?" "I'm good. Really good, actually." She looked at him and seemed to notice something different. "You look happy." "I am. I got remarried last year." "I heard. Congratulations." "Thank you." There was a long pause. Then Claire said, "I'm sorry. For everything. I know I said it before, but I don't think I really meant it then. Now I do." Michael studied her face. She looked tired, older than she should have. The confidence she'd had when she left was gone, replaced by something that looked like regret. "I appreciate that," he said. "I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Ryan and I didn't work out, and I realized too late what I gave up." Michael felt nothing when she said it. No satisfaction, no anger, no sadness. Just a distant kind of understanding. "I hope you find what you're looking for," he said honestly. "I think I already lost it," she replied. He didn't know what to say to that, so he just nodded. "Take care of yourself, Claire." He walked away and found Andrea waiting for him near the front of the store. "Was that her?" Andrea asked. "Yeah." "You okay?" "I'm fine. She's part of my past. You're my present and my future." Andrea smiled and took his hand. "Come on, let's go home." They left the bookstore together, and Michael didn't look back. That night, lying in bed next to Andrea, Michael thought about everything that had happened since that day. Claire said she needed space. How devastated he'd been. How lost he'd felt. How he'd hired Vincent and found the truth and made the decision to end things on his own terms. He thought about the empty closet, about the divorce papers served at Ryan's apartment, about giving Claire exactly what she asked for and nothing she actually wanted. He could have begged her to stay, could have tried to win her back, could have pretended he didn't know about Ryan and hoped she'd eventually choose him. But he'd chosen himself instead. He'd chosen truth over comfort. He'd chosen self-respect over false hope. And that choice had led him here, to a life built on honesty and trust and real connection. Andrea shifted in her sleep and moved closer to him. Michael wrapped his arm around her and closed his eyes. Claire had said she needed space. So Michael had given her divorce papers and an empty closet. And in doing so, he'd emptied his life of lies and filled it with something real. That was the real victory. Not winning the divorce. Not exposing Claire. Not even finding happiness with Andrea. The real victory was learning to recognize when someone shows you who they really are and having the courage to believe them. Claire had shown him she was someone who would lie, cheat, and plan a secret life. Andrea had shown him she was someone who would communicate, commit, and build a life openly. He believed both of them, and that had made all the difference.